What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase. Today, I got a new release from Second Sight, and one that a lot of people were very excited about. I was very excited about to get, and it is from 1986, the 4K limited edition release of The Hitcher, starring Rutger Hauer and C. Thomas Howell. Now, my history with The Hitcher is zero. Be perfectly honest with you, I have not seen this movie. I have never seen this movie until last night. First time I watched this movie. I've known about it. I've heard about it. I knew its reputation. People talked about it for years. Why I never got around to seeing it, I don't know. I know that there's some kind of rights that was held up as far as some releases go later on. I don't know. I'm sure there was a VHS release. I don't know if I obviously never thought about renting it or whatever, for whatever reason. But I never saw it. So when Second Sight announced this, and in this great set, it seemed like, okay, this is the perfect time for me to check this out. Not only, to see the movie, but because this is a beautiful, beautiful set. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is going to be a Second Sight, big box, not unusual. However, I was not expecting a really thick box from this. I didn't know it was going to be this thick. Not quite Dawn of the Dead big, but still pretty good set. This is a lot of good stuff in here. I mean, they really did a nice job with this. I'll get in that in a second. So, I saw the movie the first time last night. What are my thoughts? Let me just say that all the praise heaped upon this film, definitely worth it. This is an incredible, incredible movie. From the very get-go, it just grips you and doesn't let go for the full time. There's no dull spots. It really moves, and it gives you a nice sense of dread, and unease at times too. You have Rutger Hauer probably at his most sinister, and this is a guy who is known for playing villains. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Rutger Hauer not play a villain. He just looks like a bad guy. Actually, I can think of one time maybe, and I think it was Lady Hawk. He played a good guy with Matthew Broderick and Michelle Pfeiffer, I think. But other than that, he's always been, to me, that I've always known him as a bad guy. You go back to obviously Blade Runner, Nighthawks, Hitcher was like big one. Heck, he even was a bad guy in Smallville for a few episodes. So, that just Rutger Hauer just screams bad guy. And it's interesting when you hear the director and people talk about the film, and initially they had thought of someone like Sam Elliott for this part in The Hitcher, which would be interesting, without question. I think Sam Elliott could really be, I think he could do it justice. However, he balked at the idea, didn't want to take that chance, and thought we made too much. He did later on say it was one of his biggest regrets he didn't take this role. Another choice they had was Terrence Stamp, General Zod himself, but he didn't. I don't think I don't think that Terrence Stamp really was keen on the role either, but he wanted to take it. And I know the writer said it wasn't quite. It was the right fit that he thought. Rutger Hauer, however, is, like I said, at his peak, as most sinister. This is by far his, to me, that I've seen, his scariest villain. And it's all in the little, which is what Rutger Hauer does, the eyes, the look, the little small things he brings to the any part he plays. But especially with this one, it's just little things. And he really grabs you. And he's almost, like I said, he's very sinister, yet in some ways, if you look deeper into it, almost sympathetic. And you're thinking, what the hell are you talking about? I'll get that in a minute. But what I love about this film is there's no backstory. There's no nothing. As soon as C. Thomas Howell picks up Rutger Hauer, this film is gone. It's going. Movies like this, usually you get the story of, he brings them, the hitchhiker, we have a good laugh. He's building up trust, and they're bonding friendship. All of a sudden, he turns, and now he's a bad guy. None of that. It's just basically from the get-go, The minute C. Thomas Howell let Rutger Hauer into the vehicle, he has invited death along for this ride. And I mean, it just goes. Like I said, well, there's no rhyme or reason. It just is. The movie is living in the present. There's no, like I said, no exposition, no backstory. Just we're going. We're just, we're with C. Thomas Howell trying to figure out why Rutger Hauer has gone crazy on him, and just trying to survive these events. And it's the dynamic between these two is very. It's cat and mouse in some ways, because obviously you can tell Rutger is playing with C. Thomas Howell, but yet there is, if you look deeper, there's a method to his madness, I think, in the fact that you hear it, and you tell when he comes in, obviously we know right away he's a serial killer. He, it's just what he wants to do. He's threatening C. Thomas Howell, but when, and again, I forget their names, so their character names, so I'm going with the actors' names. When he threatens C. Thomas Howell and he actually gives him a fight back, he doesn't want to die, he wants to live. You see the change in the Rutger Hauer character. He's okay now. This isn't just a run of the mill kill. I've got something here. I've got a prey in a sense. I've got something to play with. But at the same time, you realize that he is wanting St. Thomas Howell to end him, to kill him. That's his whole goal. Because he could, spoilers, he could wipe out St. Thomas Howell if he wanted to, but no. He's trying to push him over the edge. He's trying to make him go that far to kill him, end his life. He's it's almost like I said, he's playing a game, it's cat and mouse in a weird, weird way. What I said makes Rutger kind of sympathetic in some ways, because he's seeking death, but he can't do it himself. He wants someone to do it for him. Or maybe thinks it's more supporting that way. I don't know. But it's an interesting dynamic. Like I said, he is basically, we're looking at a mentor, student relationship in a very weird, psychotic way. When St. Thomas Howell is being mentored by Rutger Hauer, whether he wants it or not. And you're seeing the St. Thomas Howell character grow, through the trauma and, almost a bit of a rebirth himself through all this madness that Rutger Hauer's putting him through. So it's a really interesting dynamic between these two characters. Like I said, there's a lot you could delve into and peel apart if you really want to dissect this movie, but you don't have to do anything either. You can just run along for the ride, because there's a lot of fun action. There's great suspense. You've got the Jennifer Jason Leigh character. There's some violence, there's some gore. I mean, it's got everything. It's got everything. The cinematography is absolutely beautiful. It really helps tell the story. With C. Thomas Howell taking his car across country, and he's out at this point in the desert, and you see these wide open vistas. It's just mountains. There's nothing around him. It's wide open space. Yet at the same time, it's claustrophobic. And I say that in the sense that while he's out there is all this nothingness. But again, that's it. That's it. There's nothing out there. He can't go anywhere. He can't find anybody. He can't do anything. He's trapped still. So again, it's wide open claustrophobia. It's a very interesting visual storytelling in a sense, if you get that. I mean, throughout the whole film, I'm seeing there's like very little. When he goes to the diner, when he meets the Jennifer Jason Leigh character, it's like empty. Of course, it is first. My first thought was like, wait, there's nobody work here. Then I realized it's morning. She's opening the place up. But even the police station later on, there's very few, police, and it's a very empty place. Everything is just sparse. There's just a lot of nothing. The roads are just empty. It's weird. Which also helps. Something I didn't mention about Rutger Hauer's character is almost like a supernatural presence, even though he's not, but he just feels that way. He's just like an ongoing. He's a force of nature, but he's popping up everywhere, unexpected. He always is one step ahead of C. Thomas Howell, and he's doing this great game of cat and mouse. It's so eerie and bizarre. It's fascinating. It really is. It's a fascinating film to watch. It can be a very terrifying film to watch too. And it's also very grounded in a lot of realism. With a grain of salt on that realism point, but it's not too far fetched that something like this could happen. Like I said, this is a nice case study, and it is why you never pick up a hitchhiker on the side of the road. You never know if it's going to be Rugger Hauer. So, I really, really enjoyed this film. I'm glad I was able to check it out. If if it's not seen it, don't be like me. Even though if you are as old as me, you've waited as long as I have too. But if you're a young one and you've never seen this film, go check it out. It's just a fantastic, fantastic film. So, what about this new 4K release from Second Sight? Well, like I said, they have really blown out of the water with this release. This is just beautiful. Like I said, it's a nice thick box, not Dawn of the Dead thick, but it's a little bigger than their typical Arrow size box. So let's take a look at this in the back. You've got first of all like the Dawn of the Dead set, you have like the little boxed L card, which is a good way to keep it safe. It slides down and out, which is nice, and it has all your features in the back, which we'll go over in a little bit. Here's your hard box, great Rugger Hauer. And then sign. In the back you've got C. Thomas Howell. All your goodies. So let's pop these out again. Nice, very hard, sturdy box. Love it. Oh, excuse me. So here's your discs. There's the back, and you've got two discs. You got Blu-ray and 4K, and which is great about this, the special features are on both discs. So it's not a case where the 4K is just the movie and all these special features are on the Blu-ray. No, they put every special feature on the Blu-ray, every special feature on the 4K. So for those of you who, maybe, want to get this but don't have a 4K player, but you do have Origin free player, you can pick this up and still get all those features that the 4K doesn't have, which is nice. Of course, we've got, the little cards, which are, I don't know, I think they're, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure. Some people like them, some people don't. I don't mind them. I mean, are they necessary? No. I'm trying to get these out without breaking the tape, but I don't think we'll be able to do that, so we'll just break it. Like I said before, I think that what it is, they're trying to mimic the old lobby card look that a lot of films used to have back in the day. But they're, to various results. However, in this case, it doesn't look like they're actual photos. There's like artwork from the scene, which are pretty nice. So that's a little bit something different. As opposed to just photos or stills, you've got, artwork. So, a couple more. And there you go. There's that. Let's see. And then you've got the actual screenplay by Eric Red. And this is a full screenplay, which will be a really interesting read to see what's different, what was in here, what's not. And then last, and the big one, is you have this big hardbound book. Again, this is not like a little booklet. This is a full book. Here's your contents. You can see that. And this is just, it's a novel. That's so much stuff in here. This is just amazing. And this is a beautiful book, too. This is amazing what they've done. As once again, Second Sight has really just blown it away with these releases. This is a really nice release. And I'm glad I picked it up, and I'm glad this is the first time I'm seeing it this way. Now, as far as, I'll go back to the movie, the 4K looks absolutely beautiful. Now, I have nothing to compare it to since I've never seen the film until yesterday in 4K, so the way I've ever seen it. But it did look, wonderful. I don't think you'll be disappointed in this at all. Like I said, I had technical specs or whatever like that. I just know, to me, it looked fantastic. as a layman. And what more could you ask? Special features wise, there are a lot to go through. So let's see. Give me a second here. Okay, you got dual format edition, including both UHD and Blu-ray, with main feature and bonus features on both discs, as I said. A new 4K restoration by Second Sight films from the original camera negative, supervised and improved by director Robert Harmon. UHD presented in HDR with Dolby Vision. Features Dolby Atmos and original stereo audio mixes. Now, I listened to it I selected the Dolby Atmos, which honestly I don't really have Dolby Atmos. I do have 7.1 surround. And I don't know if that really, I still played. But it was a very subtle mix. I didn't really hear anything too much like in surround or anything, but it was, the sound, the music was good. Which is, for the action, like, for the some of the stunts, that was perked up. But overall, it was, pretty, like I said, subtle. Nothing too over top. Nothing you're really going to blast your surround sound with, which is fine. This movie doesn't really need it. This is a quiet... A quiet calm to a point. A quiet calm of fear. There you go. Let's see. You have new audio commentary by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas. Audio commentary with Robert Harmon and writer Eric Red. Scene-specific audio commentary with Robert Harmon, Eric Red, executive producer Edward S. Feldman, and composer Mark Ishman. Director of photography John Seal, and actor Rutger Hauer and C. Thomas Howell. So, I didn't listen to the audio commentaries, but the scene-specific one probably tells me it's like interviews and there's kind of splicing together over certain scenes. I've seen that kind of commentary before. The Projection Booth podcast featuring Robert Harmon and Rutger Hauer. I tried to check that one out, and basically it's another audio commentary just played over the movie. I didn't, go through listen to it, but I know I started, and basically the movie started, so it's going to be a commentary over the movie as well. Bullseye, a new interview with Robert Harmon. This was about 40-some minutes, and it was a very interesting interview. Just a lot of the making behind the scenes of the film. Very good. Penning the Ripper, a new interview with Eric Red, who was another 40-minute interview, who was the writer, in of the script. And, it's a very interesting interview, again, with a lot of behind the scenes and making of it and things like that. Doomed to Live, a new interview with C. Thomas Howell. This was the most fun. This is about 30 minutes or so, and C. Thomas Howell is giving a really riveting interview. I mean, he is into it. It's something to see. Not bad. It's it's a very energetic interview. It's very good. Which is interesting because later on there's an archival interview and you can see the differences between a younger and an older C. Thomas Howell, which is pretty cool. Let's see. The Man from Oz, a new interview with John Seal. This is the cinematographer, which is interesting. It's about 15 minutes or so. A very formative score, a new interview with Mark Isham, who is the composer. Dual Runner, lead singer, and on the evolution of the Hitcher and Rutger Hauer. This was like a little video essay, again, talking about Rutger Hauer's characters through his films and how they all kind of have very similar traits and just features, I guess, and how they're all alike in similar ways. And also comparison to films like the movie Duel and The Hitcher and how they kind of compare and how The Hitcher is kind of, in a lot of ways inspired other films. It's actually pretty interesting. It goes about 30 minutes or so as well. China Lake, a short film by Richard Harmon, newly restored. This was an interesting little short film. I guess this is kind of what helped the director get this job, because he had been like a photographer and then like a DP, and then decided to make the short film, which he, photographed himself too. Basically, it's about Charles Napier stars as a kind of rogue cop. It's a really interesting, again, half an hour. It's shot in widescreen. It looks beautiful. It's shot very well for a short film. And then after that, you have the calling card, Robert Harmon on China Lake. So basically talking about his history of why he made that film and how it was the catalyst to him getting the directing job on The Hitcher. Then you have Telephone, a short film by Eric Red. This was Eric Red being the writer of the screenplay. This was about another half an hour short film. older because it's basically shot in 1:3:3 aspect ratio, and it's basically about a woman who randomly calls up a number and decides she's going to shoot herself while she's talking to this person, just for whatever reason, and end up having this conversation of between her and the person on the phone. It's actually quite compelling, more than you think. Again, it's an interesting watch. And then the Hitcher, how do these movies get made? This is basically the archival making of, I think, from like the 15th anniversary is what they said the date was. Like I said, this also has Rutger Hauer in it, so this is sometime back in a very younger C. Thomas Howell before he had all the white hair. And it's a lot of the same stories they're telling on here. They're telling, the director and writer and C. Thomas Howell are sharing in the newer interviews. But it's still interesting to get the producer and Rutger Hauer on this archival interview. So it's interesting to get their takes. And to hear Rutger Hauer talk about the film was definitely a plus. And then you got trailers and TV spots. So this is a very stacked and loaded edition from Second Sight. And I am so glad to have picked this up. Now, I know that just recently there was an announcement of a North American 4K release of the Hitcher. I think probably from the studio. I'm not sure. It was like, Columbia TriStar or somebody. But again, it's a single disc, nothing fancy. It's just the basic 4K. And, for those who want to grab that one because it's region, it's a North American release, definitely, you get what works for you. But if you can get this Second Sight release, again, it's 4K, it's region free. And if you've only got, a region free player, but not a 4K player, the Blu-ray has all the special features that are on the 4K, so you're not going to miss anything. But definitely, this is probably the definitive edition of the Hitcher you think you're going to see. This is a fantastic, beautiful set. I'm glad I picked it up. If you can get it, if it's still available, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed, especially if you're a big fan of the Hitcher. So, that is it for now. If you enjoyed this, click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Did you pick up this version of the Hitcher? Are you waiting for that North American release? Did you wait as long as I did to see the Hitcher? What are you going to do? Or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.